Hi, my name is Alex and I welcome you to today's video. In 2018, the developers from Bloober team had already released the first installment of the Layers of Fear series. With the second part, which is now finally available on Nintendo's hybrid console, a lot has changed. While in the predecessor you experienced a kind of ghost train in an old mansion, the setting has changed completely. This time we find ourselves on a cruise ship where we are attacked by all sorts of supernatural things. First, however, we'll start with the heart of the game, its atmosphere. Layers of Fear 2 manages to make us constantly want to look over our shoulder. We are constantly haunted by the feeling that someone is standing right behind us. The fear of what might come is always worse than the fear of the known. Much of the game's creepiness is based on this principle. Partly responsible for this is the soundscape. With almost no music and only a quiet creak here and a faint child's laughter there, it provides constant discomfort. Fans should already know this too well from the predecessor. The mansion in Layers of Fear Legacy also has long winding corridors and rooms that change their architecture the second time you enter. This time, however, the developers have used the aforementioned ship setting to up the creepy repertoire. Swaying corridors or the fear of drowning play a central role. Our main character also contributes to this claustrophobia and unease. If she feels close to a breakdown, perception and thus our image of the game changes. Rooms lose their color, contours blur, and suddenly we no longer know what's real and what is imagination. This not only creates more suspense, but also visual variety. However, a problem from the predecessor has also crept into the second game, which is directly interwoven with the biggest plus point. The game is sometimes simply too abstract to be scary. While a sudden appearing silhouette always scares, a room full of weightless bread leaves us rather perplexed. Sudden changes in setting also create more confusion than suspense. This has a lot to do with how the story is told in the game. At the beginning, we play an actor who wants to learn a role on a cruise ship. But the director, known for a very demanding approach, seems to have other plans. Our deck is deserted, apparently cursed, and also inhabited by a monster that keeps trying to get at us. As in the first game, we find newspaper snippets, notes and pictures which in turn trigger memories and make us aware of what's behind it all. Only these snippets are so far apart and separated from each other by puzzles and escape passages that we have to work quite hard for a context. The world the game throws us into, the atmosphere it creates, and the beginning of the story it outlines are really well designed. In contrast, the thin story is particularly noticeable. Further deductions to the game's enjoyment also come in the controls. While it is very well designed for the discovery and puzzle passages, it proves to be fiddly as soon as the game speed increases a bit. I was very surprised by the technical side. The game runs at 30 frames per second docked and in handheld mode, and there can sometimes be drops below the 30 mark, but overall the game runs very smoothly. Of course, the game runs at a lower resolution and lower texture quality, as well as lower resolution shadows, but it still looks really good, especially docked. It is especially important in a horror game that nothing is lost in the atmosphere due to the graphical downgrade, which is not the case here. So let's come to a conclusion. For me, Layers of Fear 2 is a solid horror game, despite some of its flaws. The atmosphere is great, the ship and the silent movie setting is an excellent choice, and the puzzle and action passages are a nice change from exploration and escape. The only downer, however, is the story. It was clearly told better in the first game. For these reasons, I rate Layers of Fear 2 for the Nintendo Switch a 7.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. If you liked it, we would be very happy about a like and a subscription, or if you are interested in getting early access to our future reviews, feel free to visit our Patreon page.
Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.